Without the Wolf, does James Kirkland have a chance in hell to beat Saul Canelo Alvarez? Let's go. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, this was interesting, and for you guys that don't know, James Kirkland, for his fight with Canelo, which is a big ring return fight, he's not going to be working with the famous Ann Wolf. Me personally, I really like the partnership, the marriage between, not literal, because I know some of y'all motherfuckers is dumb, like, oh, they were married, I didn't even see him get proposed. You know what I'm saying? Not that type of marriage, but I'm talking about the partnership, the team, the duo between Ann Wolf and James Kirkland. I really liked it because I think, I mean, obviously, Anne Frank, damn, Diary of Anne Frank. I mean, Ann Wolf, um, being a former fighter herself, those tend to be the best coaches because they know little things, little nuances and things as a fighter that others may not have known if they didn't compete. So her being a good boxer. Speaking of her being a boxer, just real quick, if you guys have not seen Ann Wolf, who was ducked by Muhammad Ali's daughter, just for the record, but that's another video. Anyway, if you have not seen Ann Wolf versus Vonda Ward, just YouTube it. I dare you. Like just Ann Wolf versus Vonda Ward. And to me, out of all the female boxing that I've seen, and I'm not saying like I've seen more, you know what I mean? Obviously, I've seen more dudes box, but I've seen some. And to me, that goes up there as probably the best knockout that I've seen in female boxing history that I've seen personally. It was nasty. She just laid her out. And the thing is, just a quick backstory, Vonda Ward was in the WNBA, so she was extremely tall. I think she was like my height and shit for a female, maybe even taller. She was like 6'4", 6'6", something like that. So she was extremely tall, got into boxing, and I believe she was a feared puncher. And she just got stretched, like knocked the fuck out by Ann Wolf. And Ann Wolf is like she seems like one of those, she's a lesbian, but she seems like one of those ladies, one of those girls that just real no nonsense, just real badass. So I like Ann Wolf a lot. And I think James Kirkland needs someone like that that's going to be on his ass. And I heard little tall tales about what kind of rigorous training she would put James Kirkland through, make him flip tires in Texas in the, you know what I mean, 115-degree weather, just crazy shit, sledgehammer workout and stuff. And I think James Kirkland mentally needs someone like that. Now, he's not going to be working with her. So to me, I'm like, damn, there's some setbacks with, he's already kind of in the hole, if you will, versus Canelo, in my opinion. And then he's not training with Ann Wolf. It could be even worse. And I want to talk about some of those things in this video. And I talked to Kirkland's current trainer. So if you guys have questions that you have, let me know and I'll try to reach back out to him. He's going to be training with GT. So shout out to my man GT. If you guys have questions, let me know so I can reach out to him and get those answers for you guys. But I talked to GT, and this is no disrespect to him, but I don't know as much about his training methods. That's why I don't have anything to gauge it off in terms of Ann Wolf. I personally like Ann Wolf's training, but I'm gonna give GT a fair shake because I haven't seen his methods. It looks like he has Kirkland dropping weight. They're doing a lot of water work and different things like that. So again, this is not a knock on his methods. I just don't know what he's gonna do or what kind of shape. You know what I'm saying? He could have James Kirkland looking phenomenal. But me personally, I don't like when a lot of fighters constantly switch trainers. Most famously, I would say one of the guys that always switches trainers, Chad Dawson. Work with Floyd Sr., this person, that person, and bounce around. I don't think that's good. I think fighters should have some kind of grounding, some type of stability personally. So we'll see how this partnership with GT works. I wish the best for them. Let's talk about the fight. Now, even if James Kirkland was with Ann Wolf, if he's with GT, if he's with Kirk Franklin, I don't care. I would still favor, personally, stylistically, I would give an edge to Canelo. He's a nasty inside fighter, and I think Canelo tends to do better with guys who are in front of him. We know Kirkland gets hit, and what I've seen that bothers Canelo is more or less like methodical guys, like Mayweather, who's gonna think he's gonna outthink you and he's gonna outspeed you and just do everything better. Same thing with Laura, that Cuban style, that slick. A lot of people said he was running or whatever, just lateral movement. That sometimes it appears Canelo, he has his feet in cement. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't move his feet quick enough to get in range. He needs to work on cutting off the ring. work with Gennady Golovkin. They've worked in the past together. Work with someone like that who effectively cuts off the ring. So again, Kirkland stylistically is more of a better fit for Canelo, because Canelo, again, his inside game is disgusting. One of my top three, I would say, inside fighters that are active. So he's not going to have to search for, unless there's new kinks in James Kirkland's arsenal that he hasn't really showed me. But based on what I've seen from both fighters in the past, I don't think Canelo's going to have to search. This could be a banger. Now, the positive side for James Kirkland is, if he is physically fit and mentally prepared, he can give anybody at 54 hell. Again, the setbacks that I've seen is, I'm hearing that he ballooned up in his offseason. He had a long layoff to over 200 pounds. That's not good. You know what I mean? Especially when you fight at 154, that means you got to lose 40 to 50 plus pounds to get back right. So you're going to spend a portion of your training camp dedicated to maintaining and cutting weight. And sometimes, like, fighters get grumpy and stuff in training camp. It's not a fun camp, if you will, when you have to cut so much weight. And what I mean by fun, I'm not saying like the work is supposed to be fun per se, but it's like, imagine you have to drop 60 pounds by a certain date, otherwise you can't fight, you forfeit your paycheck and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to eat right to a T, versus somebody like a Mayweather. I seen Mayweather, who stays relatively close to his fighting weight, and before the Canelo fight, they showed him he was eating like mac and cheese and steak and stuff like that, because he needed to, in essence, gain weight for the catch weight. So it's always better, and you have a little bit more cushion when you're closer to weight and you don't have to drastically drop so much weight. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense to some of you guys. So it's interesting. But again, Kirkland has the style that we haven't really seen Canelo against. So I really like this fight. I think it's a good fight if Canelo doesn't get Kirkland out of there early. But if it goes to the mid rounds, it could get real interesting. And I'm very curious to see what Kirkland's going to look like with GT. But one of the biggest hindrances for me to why I wouldn't pick Kirkland is because, as a boxing fan and analyst, I look at things and I look at patterns. If you do something once, okay, not necessarily a big deal. But when I've seen on more than one occasion a trait, a behavior that you've exhibited, it's hard for me to forget it. You know what I mean? I have a great memory, and I don't really forget much, like important things. I don't really forget stuff. So even if I get past it, I still remember. I still have that chip in the back of my mind, like, hey, this is present. Just picture you being in a gang currently, and you're 25, and in the 8th grade, one of your fellow gang members, somebody you grew up with or whatever, ratted you out to the principal, got you in trouble, got you expelled, got you suspended in the 8th grade. Fast forward to the future, you guys squashed the beef or whatever, it became cool again, and then you're in a gang with them, and you get pulled over by the cops or whatever, and you're riding dirty, and the cops question you and all kinds of stuff like that. Me, being the person I am, I would always refer and remember, like, hey, it's a possibility this dude might snitch again. He snitched before. And that's just what it is with James Kirkland. The fact that he's had mental lapses, in my opinion, in more than one occasion, it makes me hesitant to pick him. He could have all the talents in the world, but when you show me that Zab Judah type of mentality where I don't really know what the fuck you're gonna do, it's very hard for me to pick it, especially when the other person has a style to beat you, like Canelo. And what I'm talking about is James Kirkland. If you watch his fights, the ones that really stick out would be Carlos Molina. I thought he looked absolutely bad and garbage in that fight. And then the fight with Ishida, you went in there with a non-puncher and made him look like he was Triple G or some shit, and he's knocking you all around the ring. And just kind of the mentality of firing Ann Wolfe, then hiring her, then getting rid of her, and then now going into the biggest fight of your career in recent memory with a long layoff, and you switch trainers at the last minute. Just that kind of up and down Wall Street type of mentality, it has me leaning towards Canelo even more so, because Canelo, he's been with the Reynosos. And I'm not just saying it's about who your trainer is, because sometimes the switch is needed. I thought Cotto, he was with Pedro Diaz. I thought that was a good fit, but since he's been with Freddie Roach, he seems to be reinvigorated. So it's not just about trainer, it's the entirety of James Kirkland. And again, when you seem like that wild card, loose cannon, it's hard for me to pick that over somebody who does something consistently well. Same perfect example is Victor Ortiz. Had he quit in the Maidana fight, you know what I mean, people would probably get over it. But he's exhibited quitter mentality in other fights, headbutting Mayweather. Like, why are you gonna do some dumbass shit that you know could get you docked a point or get you disqualified or whatever? Just doesn't make any sense to me. And then the Josito fight, you got your jaw broke and you gave up in that, and I think he even got frustrated. He was rabbit punching or low blowing, just different stuff like that. The Luis Collazo, a lot of people thought that knockout in the second round was suspect, like he could have got up. Just different things like that. So when a fighter shows me that they might be mentally fragile, very hard for me to just pick them when the other person hasn't showed me that. Canelo has showed me that he's tough or whatever. So I want to know from you guys, do you think James Kirkland has a shot in hell? He's no longer with Ann Wolfe. Everything that I talked about in this video, I don't care who wins. I like both fighters. I think they're both great fighters. And I do think Kirkland can make things interesting. And I thought Angulo could have made things interesting, but Canelo just really beat him down, and that was pretty one-sided. So maybe Kirkland can do what Angulo couldn't. He did beat Angulo, in fact, and battled some adversity in that fight, battled adversity in the Glenn Tapia fight. Glenn Tapia was coming like a thunderstorm, and he weathered that storm and then ended up getting a stoppage on Glenn Tapia. So it's not out of the question for James Kirkland, but with all the things surrounding this fight, especially like the long layoff and the switching of trainers and stuff like that. Because sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it. You and Ann Wolfe, you just did great in your last fight with Glenn Tapia. Like, although he got hit, he still, I mean, you got the victory and you performed and you battled the storm. So to switch that, it's all a big question mark. And again, there's no disrespect to GT. It's just, this is my honest thought. So we don't know. We don't know what kind of condition it'll be. Like I said, sometimes in training camp, you have to be on some, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of shit. Like, don't introduce things. And when I talked to Brandon Rios, he was basically saying both fights that he lost is when he had a strength and conditioning coach and he was lifting weights and stuff like that. He had never previously done that. So it didn't really work for his particular style. So it remains to be seen if this switch was needed for James Kirkland. I just want to preview it a little bit, and you guys let me know what you think. James Kirkland, does he have a shot in hell to beat Canelo? And how does this fight play out? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. Signing off.